When I'm talking about polygyny, I'm not just talking about, oh, a man, you can have his wife, oh, you have variety in sex. Like some people, oh, it's just your lustful desires. Really? It's just lustful desires? Because it's much easier not to marry somebody and fulfill your lustful desires. No, yeah, you're right, it's not moral. But what does that have to do with it? Assalamu alaikum, peace. Coach Nazir, one of the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, as well as one of the authors of Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored. Now, today's video is a little different because in the last 2 weeks, the city where I'm from, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I was born and raised, has had 6 murders of women from intimate partner violence or domestic violence or whatnot. 6 women. All right, so this is not a public service announcement or anything like that, but it is a call to action for men. If we're supposed to be qawamun, if we're supposed to be the ones who stand up for the women, if we're supposed to be those ones, then we need to be more proactive on it. And I know I talk about polygyny a lot, we talk about marriage and everything else, but as men, aren't we the ones in our community that's supposed to be handling business, taking care of things? And I know some of you have a legitimate gripe when it comes to situations where you might have stepped in before. Maybe it was a sister or auntie or mother or somebody who was with someone abusive. You stepped in and they went right back to the person. But statistically speaking, it takes 7 times before a woman is able or willing to leave a relationship that's physically abusive. 7 times. Sometimes what accelerates that is the abuse and the pain being put on someone else, like children. So this is a reality, this stuff happens. Yes, it also happens to men, which is more of the exception to the rule, usually because men are physically larger, but I'm not dismissing, I'm just saying the last 2 weeks, 6 women have been killed by people they're in relationships with. Some married, some not. That doesn't sit right with me as a man. When we're talking about we need more men, more masculine men, men who are protectors, those who are providing what's under there. So I'm gonna let you know, women, I get sick of those comments and, oh, what about this and what about that? And this whole imaginary world that somebody's gonna be on knight in shining armor. That is only just gonna be all about you. Because fact of the matter is, when you look at surveys of people who are or were married and they talked about the amount of infidelity that goes on in monogamy, or the shows you see called Snap, or all these different murders that go on between monogamous, shut up about polygyny. I encourage men to strive to be worthy of practicing polygyny because what it will make of them, even if they choose to never even do it. But I bet you something, if there are good men in the community, if there are people who are proactive, there are those who love their women, plural, those who are being proactive with their children, those men deserve to have more women then. Those men deserve to have more women under their protection. Because we got a lot of weak men beating up women. I'm confident, and this isn't something just relegated to the US, I'm confident you probably know somebody that was in a physically abusive relationship where somebody's getting beat up, right? You probably know somebody, maybe a relative, a friend, or maybe even you. So when we talk about the need for men to step up, for men to increase their leadership, to increase their emotional agility, to increase their financial acumen, and by doing so, get the #1 thing we desire more than anything else on this planet, the most beautiful thing out there that we know of. I don't care if you're talking about taste, touch, smell, sound, or of course the visual. That's a woman. Stimulate all 5 of our senses. But a man is qualified to do that? Is you complaining about it? But yet we got 6 women, for example, and I'm not blaming, oh, they're not polygynous marriages, but I know that a man that would do that to a woman is trash. And it's highly likely we know of these people in our communities. Just like many of us know of people at Thanksgiving dinners and family gatherings who going around touching kids like that's okay. But what kind of man would stand by and allow that to happen? Not somebody with some cojones. Not at all. So when I'm talking about polygyny, I'm not just talking about, oh, a man, you can have his wife, oh, you have variety in sex. Like some people, oh, it's just your lustful desires. Really? It's just lustful desires? Because it's much easier not to marry somebody and fulfill your lustful desires. No, yeah, you're right, it's not moral. But what does that have to do with it? Is it more to beat a woman up? Kill her? Is it more to deal with prostitutes, girlfriends, mistresses, jump downs? Are we not seeing leaders of every single faith and no faith going through their congregations, having all kind of affairs, lying about it to keep the knight in shining armor, monogamous mirage all put together? Let's be real. I'm just talking about holding us accountable to a higher standard, allowing us to raise up to another standard, and you to shut up with the big, my world is falling apart, when in reality some people's worlds are really falling apart. When I look at my community in particular, the black community, and I support black excellence. Right now, there are 5 black women to every black man, eligible black men. All right? So there's a big war on the old black family if you don't already know. But what does that mean? I'm not just talking about being incarcerated, because when I say that, we're just talking about the availability of marriageable. Pardon the interruption. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that you could thrive better in the community that's more supportive? Now, I already know the answer to that. But did you know that Outstanding Personal Relationships actually has a community that is supportive and where we really hang out a lot? It has a number of areas and things like, for example, I deal with the men in the Kings and Men section where we discuss a number of different men issues, whether it's polygyny related, parenting related, whatever it may be. This is where we communicate and connect.
And as an introvert, I love the idea of an online community. So we have that. And to be able to speak with like-minded people, speak with other wives, wives, whether you're an incoming wife, whether you're a first wife, you're a wife, period, in general, you only practicing monogamy, whatever the case may be, to be able to be in a community with people who understand what you're going through, understand any type of issues you have, and also being in a place where you have support from others, where it's not all over social media for everybody else to see.
Yes, and it is a safe space. So if you guys want to see us, or if you want to connect with us, come to our community.
Indeed. And like they said, it's private. All right. So you don't have to worry about your stuff being all over the place or all on social media. Try to find the comments and go scroll. We have the subjects. We have all this type of stuff. Just go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. Look on the top of the page. Click on community. We look forward to seeing you there. Back to the video. But where's the database of those who are beating on women? Where's the database of those who are addicts? Where's the database of those who are on the down low, who claim they like women, but they out there, sword fighting? Where they at? We have major problems in our community. And the problem is not multiple women marrying multiple women. Because those that have strong leadership skills, those who are proactive, those who work on themselves deserve it. They deserve more responsibility. Because what is the point? What's going to stretch you as a man? If the thing that you desire most, women, the thing that gives you that support, that comfort, that love that you desire, where your love is expansive as a man, you have the ability to, but yet you don't. And we look up again and we say, oh, she was with him, but you know what? He was single, promising her monogamy. How many more relationships got to fail? How many more people have to get physically hurt before we recognize that we should be holding up marriage as the moral standard and making sure our men are striving to become better men and our women are striving to raise their standards if we want to work on the foundation of the family, which is the beginning for all of society and nations to win. So with that being said, prayerfully you understand what I'm saying. I know that polygyny is an ancient solution to a modern day problem, but polygyny is about family and nation building. And if those who are qualified or those who desire to be qualified continue being shunned and put off as a taboo and everything else, then we'll continue to have havoc. Because if we think and we know that Shaitan's number one goal is to break up families, number one goal, what about the person who's stopping families from coming together? What about the one that's that middle person from stopping marriages from happening in polygyny? Is that not some type of offshoot of Satan's desires? Because he's preventing versus breaking up. Both of them have very similar results, right? Think on that before you come to comments with your, oh, it's just optional. Yeah, it is optional, but marriage is optional also. You absolutely do not have to get married. It's encouraged, but you don't. All right, it's not for all men and all women. Please stop with the little childish arguments also. Because no, it's not for all men. You know why? Because there's not enough women on earth for it to be for all men. So those type of comments, stop it, please. You make yourself look foolish. And this isn't for you. If you all up in your chest about something because you're thinking only about you, or you think it's only about sex. Yeah, sex is a benefit. Sex is great. I can't think of any other thing on this planet, all right, outside of worshiping my Lord and closer to Allah Ta'ala than being intimate with your wife and connecting on several different levels at one time through sexual intimacy. I can't think of nothing better. I've done a whole lot of stuff, but that right there takes the cake. Probably why 7 billion people on the planet right now and why we've been surviving for many millennia. It's that good. But it's not simply the act. And for those of you who think it's simply the act, ask yourself, do you think your husband married you simply to have a warm bed? So don't be dismissive and think it's just the act. That's a very strong driver. And I talked about it before when I suggested that you go and look up the chapter 11 in Think and Grow Rich on sexual transmutation. If you have not done that, do your research on that. That will help you understand men a little bit more, a little bit better. And as a man, you don't have to apologize for it, but you can utilize your energies for much better and growing. Because the more you are attractive, you have those character traits, you will attract more, you will attract better. We need more solution makers than problem makers. So with that being said, I'm Coach Nazir, the coach that helps men get their shift together. With that being said, I want you to be outstanding because average is nothing but the top of the bottom or the bottom of the top. What I want you to do is put in the comments and let me know what city you're from and how many people in your city, how many women in the city, if you have the data available, and it usually is. That means you might have to do a little research or a Google search. How many women have been killed in domestic violence or intimate partner violence so far in 2022? How many? You will see it's a lot more than we think. And none of it is acceptable. And though it may not necessarily be preventable because you can't be everywhere to save everybody, but stronger men that lead, that decide to grow strong families and be proactive in their lives, they should be celebrated. They should be celebrated. And even if you're not, if you're a man that you're being proactive, you're monogamy, that's cool as well. You're leading your family, you're growing it, you should be celebrated also. So let's leave the foolishness alone and choose to build. So with that, I'm out. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.